Hi, everyone. So, I wanted to just spend a couple of minutes and talk about five things that can break a deal. Number one is operational efficiency, what to look for there. Number two is property condition and how to look for some of the telltale signs there. Number three, who's the asset manager? What's their track record? So, three is asset manager. Four, basics, high level underwriting. What are the things to watch out for? And then number five is cap rate sensitivity in the given market. So coming back to them one by one, by the way, before we get into this, click down below and subscribe to the 22 topic series. You'll kind of see how this all fits in, and it'll do a building block kind of an approach on the basics, the intermediate topics, and then it tails off with the advanced topics. So all of these things that I'm putting out on YouTube will link in with what we've got in that 22 topic email series, the email course for investors that you can get access to if you go to agilecapgroup.com / investor education, or just go to the main website. So coming back to the first topic, operational efficiency, that has everything to do with how the properties run, who's the leasing manager, how does that work with maintenance requests, how long do maintenance requests sit out there, how long does it take to turn a unit. On a good property, we should be able to get in, get out in less than a week, 10 days. And on average, between 7,500 to 8,500 is kind of the ballpark, for an average Class C, Class B, one bedroom kind of an upgrade. Um, the operational efficiency aspects are all about how the property is managed, property condition. That's point number two. Looking at things like how the property is currently, how it sits, where the deferred maintenance is. You want to look for things that make sense, like paint that needs updating outside. Maybe a little bit of rust on the staircases. The windows may need black screens to kind of create a little bit of a cleaner environment. What are some things that we can do to put oak wood panels on the balconies to give them a more presentable look and kind of hide some of the things that might be artifacts you don't want to make all that visible. So little things that are low cost but can really improve the appearance, and that'll obviously drive your the amount of capital expenditure you need to put in. Linked to that is making sure things like, as an example, sewer lines are scoped. Believe it or not, sewer can get really expensive, and it's under the foundation and it's under the building, so it can get really, really pricey. Property conditions, superficially, you want things that aren't great because that's where your NOI improvement comes from and where you can drive the rent and you can drive improvement on the living conditions. Number three, related to that, is who's the asset manager. You don't want somebody who's first time doing this. You want people that have done. You want a company that's done this, with tens of thousands of doors, and they've got that property management experience, asset management experience that's going to drive some predictability. So looking at that resume is super critical. And also making sure that you've got somebody from the GP team who's responsible for asset management, local or relatively local. You won't believe how much being able to walk the property makes a lot of sense and difference in terms of how the property ultimately goes, from an improvement perspective and the life cycle of what we try to achieve. So great if we found a deal in Alaska, but if I live in California, I'm not going up there very often, or anywhere else for that matter, in terms of where you are. So having close proximity with one of the main asset management GPs absolutely critical. Number four is underwriting. So looking at rent comps, and vacancy is critical. When does the deal break? If rent doesn't meet the projected number. In terms of if the current rent is at 1,100 and we're trying to get to 1,250, 1,225, that's doable. If it's taking 1,100 to 1,500, that may be a little unreasonable. And all of that's obviously relative. One of the things I like to do, being a consultant, and this will relate to some of you in my LinkedIn network as coming out of banking, financial services, and management consulting, is simple. It's the current state, future state roadmap. So one of the things I like to do is pick up the phone and call the five or six companies or five or six apartment complexes that are in our offering memorandum, and we've done rent comps to say these are properties that are able to drive the higher rents. And sometimes I find ones that are across the street. I'll call them up and I'll ask them, what kind of rent are you renting the 2-bedroom at? So we projected 1225, and these guys have it already rented at 1450. That's a safe bet. What's your occupancy? Well, we don't have anything available till March, and it's December now, so that tells me that the demand is strong. And I'll go down the list and I'll make those calls. It's about 5 minutes a phone call. 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. What's the rent and when are they available? So do your due diligence. That's critical. Looking at rent comps and vacancy, absolutely an important thing to take a look at, occupancy/vacancy. Number 5 is the cap rate sensitivity. And so ultimately, you want cap rates to stay steady or drop a little bit when it's time for you to sell. If you think about it that way, if you bought something and the NOI was $10 million and it was a 6% cap rate and it drops to 5%, well, I mean, you just realize a significant amount of improvement when the cap rate drops. The formula is asset value equals NOI over cap rate. So if the cap rate in the denominator drops, it's going to drive up your asset value as it drives out the as you look to get to the disposition and the sales side. So real quick, operational efficiency and who's running the property, how's it being run, how are we doing the turns and the getting people moved in and moved out, that whole process. Number 2, property condition and deferred maintenance. Number 3, asset manager track record and resume. Number 4 is the underwriting and the basics of that, making sure we know when the deal falls apart. Again, for some of the management consultants and financial services folks out there, shock testing, scenario analysis. It's really like looking at when you're going to get the break points and when the deal stops making sense. And number 5 is cap rate sensitivity. There's a lot of other things that we can talk about on the cash flow, the debt to equity. Those are more technical, but qualitatively, these are 5 things that I have found to be incredibly handy to kind of keep in the back pocket to say, look, does it kind of meet my qualitative criteria? So thanks again for watching. Certainly keep your comments and feedback coming. I'm loving some of the dialogue that's coming out of this and catching up with a lot of you that we haven't kept up with. So certainly come back with comments and feedback. And at the same time, if you could please subscribe to the 22 topic list and also the YouTube channel, I'd certainly appreciate that. And any reshares to kind of spread the knowledge would very much be appreciated as well. Look forward to your comments, and thanks again for watching.